In the shadowy theater of the Cold War, paranoia was currency. Every whisper could be a secret, every corner a hiding place for an unseen adversary. Intelligence agencies on both sides were locked in a relentless battle, a silent conflict fought not with soldiers, but with secrets and surveillance. The CIA's Directorate of Science and Technology was tasked with the impossible: to create the next generation of espionage tools, no matter how unconventional. They needed to hear conversations in places no human operative could ever reach, to capture whispers from behind enemy lines without detection. Traditional methods were becoming obsolete. Bugs could be swept, agents could be caught. They needed something completely unexpected, something that could hide in plain sight. The pressure to innovate was immense. Ideas ranged from the brilliant to the bizarre, as agents and scientists brainstormed for the ultimate intelligence-gathering asset. They explored robotic insects and dragonfly drones, pushing the boundaries of miniaturization in a desperate search for an undetectable listening post. They needed an agent that could get close to sensitive targets, loiter without suspicion, and be completely ignored by security. What could possibly fit that description? What unassuming creature could wander into the most secure locations on Earth without raising a single alarm? Then, in a moment of strange inspiration, one of the most audacious and peculiar projects in CIA history was born. The project was codenamed Acoustic Kitty. The concept was deceptively simple: transform a common house cat into a walking, four-legged listening device. The idea was that a cat could be trained to approach targets, such as officials on a park bench or in a courtyard, and eavesdrop. It was a plan born from desperation and technological ambition, a true sky's-the-limit approach to Cold War espionage. Engineers were tasked with creating a microphone small enough to be implanted in the cat's ear canal without causing discomfort or being visible. A tiny radio transmitter would be placed at the base of the cat's skull to send the captured audio to a nearby listening post. The most challenging component was the power source. A battery had to be woven into the animal's fur, thin and flexible enough not to hinder movement. Finally, a fine wire antenna was to be woven along the cat's back and tail, making the entire animal a mobile surveillance platform. The project was approved, and a budget was allocated. By today's standards, it would be over $20 million. The team was assembled: veterinarians, surgeons, audio engineers, and animal trainers, all sworn to absolute secrecy for this bizarre undertaking. With the plan in place and the technology in development, the only thing missing was the most crucial element: the agent itself. The search began for the perfect feline operative. Not just any cat would do, this one had to be special. Veterinarians were brought in to assess potential candidates. They looked for cats with a calm demeanor and a high tolerance for human handling. The ideal agent had to be healthy, intelligent, and, most importantly, possess a certain indifference to its surroundings, allowing it to remain focused. Numerous cats were observed. Some were too skittish, others too playful. The selection process was meticulous and frustrating for the team. Finally, they selected their primary candidate: a female gray and white cat. She seemed to possess the right blend of curiosity and calm. Unaware of its destiny, the cat was moved to a secure facility, becoming the CIA's most unusual and unwitting recruit. This animal was about to undergo a procedure that would transform it from a simple pet into a sophisticated piece of government technology. The team prepared for the next phase, a delicate and unprecedented surgical operation that would test the limits of their skills. The fate of the $20 million project now rested on the steady hands of the surgical team and the resilience of their feline subject. The cat, oblivious, simply rested in its enclosure, a calm center in a storm of high-stakes scientific and political ambition. The day of the procedure arrived. It took place in a state-of-the-art operating theater hidden away in a secret CIA facility. A team of expert veterinary surgeons, the best in their field, prepared for an operation that had never been attempted before. The procedure was incredibly delicate. The microphone had to be placed deep within the ear canal without damaging the cat's hearing. The animal was carefully monitored, its vital signs displayed on bulky, analog equipment characteristic of the era. The small transmitter was then carefully inserted at the base of the skull, a process requiring immense precision and skill. Every moment was tense. A single mistake could compromise the mission, the technology, and the well-being of the animal. After hours of painstaking work, the complex surgery was complete. The components were successfully implanted. The cat was moved to a recovery area where it was monitored around the clock. The first hurdle had been cleared. The team confirmed the electronics were functional. The microphone picked up the faint sounds of the room, transmitting them clearly. But implanting the technology was only half the battle. Now came the even more unpredictable part: training a cat to be a spy. The technology inside Acoustic Kitty was revolutionary for its time, a marvel of miniaturization that pushed the boundaries of engineering. The microphone, no larger than the eraser on a pencil, was designed to capture human speech with remarkable clarity from a distance. It was a custom-built piece of hardware, painstakingly assembled under microscopes by the agency's most skilled technicians. The transmitter was equally impressive, a compact device capable of sending a clear, secure signal to a receiver several hundred feet away. Powering this suite of electronics was the most significant hurdle. Batteries of the era were bulky and short-lived. The solution was a thin, flexible battery that could be stitched into the cat's fur, a concept that was years ahead of its time. The antenna was another stroke of genius, an almost invisible wire, thinner than a human hair, woven along the cat's spine. This turned the entire animal into a directional antenna, maximizing signal strength without any visible external parts. All of this technology had to withstand the rigors of an animal's daily life: running, jumping, and grooming. On paper, it was a masterpiece of covert engineering. The cyborg cat was ready. Now it just needed to learn its job. With the surgery a success, the project moved into the training phase. This is where the $20 million plan met a formidable obstacle: a cat's nature. The goal was to teach the cat to move short distances and sit near specific targets on command. It proved to be nearly impossible. Handlers used audio cues and rewards to guide the animal, but the cat, now a sophisticated piece of hardware, was still just a cat. In training sessions, the cybernetic agent would often wander off, more interested in a sunny spot on the floor than national security. One of the biggest problems was hunger. When the cat felt hungry, it would abandon its mission in search of a snack. The team tried to solve this with another surgery to address the cat's sense of hunger, a grim testament to their determination. Months were spent in a specially designed training facility, trying to instill a sense of discipline in their furry operative. Progress was minimal. The cat's inherent independence and curiosity consistently undermined the project's rigid objectives. Despite the setbacks, the agency was under pressure to show results. A decision was made to proceed with a live field test. Ready or not, Acoustic Kitty was about to go on its first and only mission. The stakes had never been higher. The target was a foreign official known to frequent a particular park in Washington, D.C. for discreet conversations. The plan was simple: release the cat nearby and let it wander over to the bench where the targets were seated. A surveillance van, packed with listening equipment, was parked across the street, ready to record every word. The targets arrived, 2 men in heavy coats, and sat on the designated bench, beginning their quiet conversation. Inside the van, the tension was palpable. Years of work and millions of dollars all came down to this single moment. The audio technician adjusted the receiver, waiting for the signal that would confirm the cat was in position and transmitting. The lead handler held the cat, giving it a final, gentle stroke. The entire operation depended on the animal's next move. The park was calm, an ordinary day to any casual observer. No one knew they were witnessing a top-secret espionage mission. The signal was given. The moment of truth had arrived. It was time to release the world's first feline spy. With a final check of the equipment and a deep breath from the team, the door slid open just enough for the cat to emerge. The cat was gently placed on the pavement. For a moment, it stood perfectly still, taking in the sights and sounds of the park. Inside the van, all eyes were on the small feline agent. The team held their breath, waiting for it to follow its training. The targets on the bench continued their conversation, completely unaware of the high-tech drama unfolding just yards away. The cat took a few steps, but not towards the park bench. It seemed distracted, its head turning this way and that. It paused, gave a leisurely stretch, and then began to wander, but it was heading in the wrong direction. Ignoring the park and the high-value targets completely, the cat ambled towards the busy street. A flicker of confusion, then concern, crossed the faces of the agents in the van. This was not part of the plan. The cat seemed utterly oblivious to its multi-million-dollar purpose, driven only by its own feline whims. It stepped off the curb directly into the path of oncoming traffic, a tiny figure against the backdrop of the city. In that instant, the culmination of years of research and incredible expense was about to meet the harsh reality of a city street. The mission ended in less than 5 minutes. The $20 million spy was immediately and catastrophically neutralized by a passing taxi. The agents in the van could only watch in stunned silence. The entire project vanished in a fleeting, tragic moment. The receiver, which was supposed to capture state secrets, transmitted only a final, abrupt burst of static before falling silent. On the park bench, the two targets continued their conversation, oblivious that a top-secret CIA operation had just ended nearby. The taxi didn't even slow down. To the driver, it was nothing more than a stray animal darting into the road. The street was suddenly empty. The grand plan, the intricate technology, the months of training, all gone. It was a spectacular failure, a stark reminder that even the most advanced technology is no match for simple, unpredictable reality. The handlers and scientists had accounted for everything except the one thing they couldn't control: the cat itself. The mission was a complete write-off. There was nothing to salvage, no data to analyze, just a grim and expensive lesson. The team drove away in silence, leaving the park behind, the site of one of the CIA's most bizarre and short-lived operations. Back at headquarters, the after-action report was brief and brutal. The project was an unmitigated disaster from start to finish. The official file for Acoustic Kitty was quickly closed. The project was deemed too impractical, too unpredictable, and far too costly to ever attempt again. The total cost, including research, surgery, and training, was estimated to be around $20 million in modern currency, all for a 5-minute mission that ended before it even began. It was a costly lesson in the limits of control. For decades, the story of Acoustic Kitty remained a classified secret, a source of embarrassment hidden within the agency's archives. It was only in 2001 that documents were declassified, revealing the strange and almost unbelievable tale to the public. The story serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that nature is not easily bent to human will, no matter the technology involved. Project Acoustic Kitty represents the extreme lengths intelligence agencies were willing to go during the Cold War's peak. It remains a bizarre footnote in the annals of espionage, a perfect example of when high-tech ambition collides with low-tech reality. A $20 million project, defeated not by a counter-spy or advanced security, but by a simple taxi and the independent spirit of a cat.